Hey there, good afternoon, and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are, beginning of the week, and my first show of the week. Well, usually it's my second show. I usually have a series episode that comes out earlier. But this is a show called This Week, which is a chronology of events for the show or for the channel for this week. For those of you who like to keep track of these things, this is for April the 23rd through to the 29th, so almost the entire rest of the month. It's episode 41 for those of you who like to keep track of this kind of stuff. I'm one of these kind of anal guys that way. I like to number things where I think they need it. So anyways, for those of you who don't know what goes on here, and if are new to this particular episode or to this particular show, we just go through and talk about the shows that are going to be going on during the week, what's going to be featured on those shows, what's going to be featured on the channel, what's up and coming on the channel, what, if anything, might be happening in the future, and talk maybe briefly, this is a bit new, this one, about some shows that I've had recently. Okay, so having said all that, let's get to it. Okay, so the first episode of the week is this one, of course, which we've already discussed. So the next episode is Ben's Album Challenge, which usually comes out, and I've been pretty consistent with having it around 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. And this is a episode or a show that was put together by me and a subscriber, Ben. He gives me an album. Normally, it's not always an album I like, but it's always an album that I've never heard or I'm interested in. Well, not always that way, but generally speaking, it's usually something that is different and I haven't heard before, and therefore I find it a challenge, and that's why we call it that. So what we do on that particular show is that he gives me the album, I listen to it, I give him my opinion of the album, and I generally pick a song on the album that was my favorite. I do think, I'm having a deja vu here, but I do think that I forgot to pick one for last album, so I do apologize for that if I did. The oldies are getting to me a bit here. So the next show that usually comes out is a Monday night look back at a classic rock album. This is probably my oldest show that I've been doing since I've been doing this for a while now, but I do it every Monday, unless I'm on holidays, generally speaking. And this week we're finally going to be doing this album, Black Sabbath's Paranoid. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get to this album. I wouldn't have thought that it would have gotten this far along in my look backs without having done it. It was actually one of the albums I had discussed with my friend about which one of these do you think I should use for my 100th episode of Look Back, and we ended up doing Tommy, but this was one of the albums on that list, and actually had been originally my favorite to do, but we had put it off. So as you notice when you're looking at this album, it's kind of rough looking. Well, I've had this was one of the very first CDs that I owned. This was the first Black Sabbath CD I owned. I think the first Black Sabbath album I owned was Heaven and Hell. Anyways, this is the original CD cover. However, this is not the original CD. The original CD, I wore it out, so I found one for a pretty good price that's in good shape, and I just re-put it in. Anyways, this is a great album. We'll be doing that for a look back at a classic rock album this week. I'll put that over here so I don't mix it up. The next show up usually comes on Wednesday night, which is another show I've been doing almost since I started that one. And this one is my favorites. So I do list. Now I've had an overwhelming response to my 10 progressive rock albums that you must own. so many people have responded to this, not just in their comments. Like, I've had a lot of comments, but also a lot of people have watched it. A lot of people have viewed it. Surprised me. It's only been 3 days, and I think it's closing in on about 500 views, which is astounding for me. And so therefore, a couple people have suggested that we might do a part B. And I think that's a good idea. I think most people would enjoy if I did a second set of must-own progressive rock albums. I might even do one on hard rock albums. In fact, I think you got to do one for hard rock albums too, but I will definitely do the one for progressive rock albums first. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do it, so 2 questions have to answer. First, what are the second 2 that I think need to be put on this list? And then the more important part is, do I own them? It's not much point putting out a must-own 10 CDs if you don't own any of them. That would be pretty lame, I think. So anyways, we will get together and do that. I don't think it'll be too long in the future either. I enjoyed that one so much that it was almost for me, it was almost, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a second one, even if this one doesn't do good. But now that I know people are interested in it, it'll just make it speed it up a little more. So what we're going to do instead this week, though, is something I had planned for some time now. I've really enjoyed some of the runs that I've seen on other channels, people doing runs of albums. This started, of course, on the Sea of Tranquility. He did some amazing runs about different albums that really opened my eyes about a lot of stuff that I had no idea about. So that was such a great thing. I thought, you know what, I got to do something like that. Now, I'm not going to do a runs type of thing because that's his thing. I'm going to do something that's more prevalent to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first 5 bands that had significant runs for me. So obviously I'll just give you the first one. I won't give you the rest. So the first one, of course, is going to be this band. They had a 6-album run for me, and then this is the only one I'm going to do with live albums too, because the live albums are significant to the storyline for this particular run that I'm going to do. So for me, that band became big from about 75, late 75, 76, right through to the end of the 70s, and these were the albums that I listened to, and this is the run of albums that fit into that run of music for me from that band. And then I have 4 other bands that I got into almost immediately after I started getting out of that band, and I'm going to do them kind of chronologically as to how they happened. Actually, I've decided I will give you just the bands, but I'm not going to say much about them. So the first band that will come after this one will be this one. This was the next band I got into. There's a 3-album run there. There's this band. This band's going to be a bit unique. They were the second band I got into. However, there's going to be 2 different separate runs here. I got into Heaven and Hell first, so there's a run evolving around that, and then I went back because I love this band so much and was listening to all their earlier stuff, so there's going to be a run from that as well. The next band I got into was this one. There's a run from them, and then of course, without a doubt, this one, which was one of the 4 bands that I got into at that time period. If this goes well, I have a second run of 5 that came out after all these that I would like to do as well, but we'll start with that one and see how people like it or don't like it. So just so you're aware, it'll be called 5 bands that I got into and was heavily into. I don't know how it's going to be titled, who had runs of albums that I really enjoyed. Okay, so the next, I need my glasses for this because I scratched it. Oh yeah, of course. So the next show comes out on the Saturday, and in case I didn't mention it, that Favorites one comes out on the Wednesday. So the next show comes out on the Saturday. This week it's not the psychedelic snack. We had that last week or yesterday, and we're having the live thing. So they alternate those 2 shows. One is one week, one is the next week. This week we're going to be doing, and I did have it here, and I seem to have misplaced it. Here it is. We're going to be doing this live album for you King Crimson fans. This is Live USA. I've heard this is a fantastic album. I've only listened to it bits and pieces on different shows and stuff. So I now own it, and I'm going to be listening to that, and then we're going to talk about that album, or I'm going to give my opinion about this album on my live experience on next Saturday. I hope that'll be good. I'm looking forward to this. King Crimson's one of those bands that I discovered about 2 years ago. Well, that's a bit of a misnomer. I actually discovered them about 40 years ago, but I only got into them 2 years ago. That's more of a accurate statement, and I have no idea what was going on for so many years that I didn't get into this band. They're so good. Anyways, the next episode that we're going to do, I'm also going to try to do as many What's New as I can this week to try to catch up. I am going to be doing one for sure, and the one I'm going to be doing for sure is this one. Just got it yesterday. It's not in chronological order to how I'm doing the What's News, but it's got to get done, and so it's going to be coming out on at some point during the week. There will be an episode featuring this album. I love my Jethro Tull. I hope this. I've listened to it once through. I'm hoping that the second time through I will click right into it. Part of the reason I didn't click into it the first time is because I was playing it while I was lying down, and I think I fell asleep halfway through. It's not. I don't know if it's going to be as good as their last album, which I think was fantastic, but I'm hoping it'll be as good. So we're going to be doing that album for one of the What's News this week. We have a series run, of course. Only 8 more albums, or 8 more dynamic duos to do here. 7 of them this week, and the final one will come out the following Sunday. Some really strong stuff here. A couple of repeats too of some members in different. One particular singer who was with one already is now with a different one, and one particular guitar player. A couple different guitar players actually. Yeah, a couple, and a couple of singers as well. So, but. And just remember, these are not in any particular order. I tried to put them in the order that I think best represents my taste in music, but, you know, the problem with your taste in music is that it changes every day. So when I made this list, I put them in the order that I thought was best suited for that, and now I'm looking at it thinking that one should have moved over. Well, that's the way it is, right? Anyways, the point is that these guys all deserve to have some attention for their dynamic duo relationship. And you know, I've had a couple people make comments about the one particular episode about the 2 people involved not getting along very well. Well, I hope this isn't going to burst anybody's bubble, or maybe be thought of as I'm just shuffling it off. But the truth of the matter is that, do any of these guys really get along over a long period of time? Think about it. You're married to somebody for 30, 40 years, and you have a hard time getting along with them all the time. These guys aren't even married, and they have to be together for 30 or 40 or in some cases 60 years. So you can't expect them to be having a harmonious relationship all the time. Some of them get in such a schnit with each other that they won't even look or talk to each other. But does that take away from the fact that they were fantastic together? I don't think so, and they need to be on this list because they were fantastic together, whether they liked each other or didn't. And that's the way it is. And I'm looking at them now, and there's been plenty of time where none of these guys have gotten along, except for maybe 2 of them. But for the most part, a lot of them haven't gotten along. But they're great together. So anyways, we'll be doing that. So other things that I think need to be talked about. So we're doing an upcoming AC/DC kind of, I guess it's a kind of tribute to their 50th anniversary. I think it needs to be done. I've been talking about doing maybe 4 episodes, but I think I'm just going to split it into 2. I've been thinking about it. It's going to be split into 2. We'll have, of course, the Bon Scott era, and then, of course, the Brian Johnson era. Both deserve to get some attention here for different reasons, and so we'll be doing that. I'm not going to really, I hope this isn't going to be disappointing to some AC/DC fans, I'm not going to really do a chronological history of the band. I will talk about them in a chronological order, but I don't consider myself an AC/DC expert, and I don't want to insult your intelligence by telling you stuff that you either already know or is erroneous. I'm going to talk about the band and generally and how they got together and why I think they're so big, and just basically talk about their albums and their music and them as individuals. You know, try to keep it about the band, right? Which is, to me, it's all about. Some people like to do a history of the band, and I got nothing wrong with that. There's some fantastic stuff out there for people talking about the histories of bands by much better qualified people than me to talk about those particular bands. So I don't want to insult your intelligence on them. So I'm here to talk about the band because I love the band. I love AC/DC. Even some of the later stuff that I didn't really follow as much, I still think they are an impact band of magnitude that's rarely reached. I even would go as far as to say, at this present time in our history, on this 2023, they may be the biggest band in the world that's still actively playing. I think they are. I would be hard pressed to think of anybody who's still playing that is as big as they are. I can't think of anybody. But anyways, we're going to be talking about AC/DC. I'm going to do a couple episodes on rock legends for them, and I'm looking forward to kind of putting this together in a way that's interesting. Okay, what else is coming up? So I've had some ideas for a couple of bi-weekly shows that I'm going to match, kind of similar to what I did with the Psychedelic Snack and the Live. I wanted to do something for Thursday nights, and so I'm thinking I'm going to do two different particular shows. And now it's early. I'm losing it here. I can't remember what the two shows were, but I will get it together at some point, and we'll be talking about it. And I look forward to doing it. There's a couple of interesting ideas I've had, so I'm thinking that it'll be interesting to do them. So anyways, I hope everybody's enjoying the current episodes that are out there. The Psychedelic Snack, I know I've been a bit different on that one than I am on anything else, but I decided I would do at least one show a week, or one show every couple of weeks, of something a little quirky and out of bounds and not really serious at all. And it gives me a chance to do my impersonations, which I do to some people's dismay. But I try to make people laugh when I'm at work, and they really like my impersonations of certain things. So I will try to do the best I can with it and just have fun with it, which is all it's about. And I hope people are enjoying that. Anyways, I can't think of anything that I missed. Oh yeah, with the series, I was thinking about doing an honorable mentions, and I still may do an honorable mentions. There isn't really many that I think are really, well, yeah, there's a couple that kind of got to be at least mentioned, if nothing else, on the show. And it's not that I don't like them, it's just that you can only do 30, right? There's only 30 days. There's 39 days, there'd probably be 9 more, right? But there's only 30. If there's 39 days in a month, the year would never end either. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Nothing else I can think of to tell you. Oh, the Halls will be coming out next week, as well as can't think of what it was. Well, at any rate, the new purchases and the Halls will be coming out next week, of course. It was a pretty big haul this month so far, about 24 albums. That's a lot for me. I spent a ton of money. Oh my God, I can't do that every month. I'd be broke. But anyways, I've enjoyed almost everything I got, so I hope everybody will be coming in for that. I know there's some people that really like that show and watch it pretty rigorously, so try to give them something really good to look at this month. Anyways, you have yourself a good day, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we will see you again next Sunday for this week, which will be episode 42. Take care.